So you found your first ancestor from another place, maybe a great-great-great-grandfather. Naturally, you want to connect with others. But before you type that first question online, watch this. I'm going to show you how a tiny bit of prep can unlock a world of helpful connections. Hi everyone, and welcome back to How We Got Here, Genealogy. In this video, I want to talk about something many of us do when we first dive into exploring our family history. You've discovered an ancestor from another place, maybe Scotland, Italy, Ireland, or anywhere, and you're excited to connect with others who might know something. So you head to a genealogy group and ask a question like, my third great-grandfather, William McKay, came from Scotland. Can anyone help me? Now imagine standing in the middle of Times Square and shouting, has anyone seen John Smith? Sure, there's lots of John Smiths out there, and just like that, there's lots of William McKays across Scotland over many generations. While these heritage-specific groups are full of knowledgeable people who want to help, a very general question like that makes it tough for them to even know where to begin their search for your William McKay. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack while you're in a field of multiple haystacks. The desire for instant answers is natural, but genealogy often requires a bit more detail to get those helpful connections. The good news is by learning how to craft and ask more specific questions, you'll significantly increase your chances of finding the information you're looking for. So let's take that initial vague question and see how we can transform it into something that will really get other genealogists excited to help. So why doesn't a question like, can anybody tell me about my third great-grandfather, William McKay, who came from Scotland, usually get you the quick answers you might be hoping for? Unfortunately, sometimes these very general questions not only fail to yield helpful information, but they are often answered with responses that feel dismissive or even a bit rude. Seasoned genealogists who see these types of broad inquiries frequently can sometimes come across as impatient, which can be really discouraging for someone just starting out and genuinely seeking guidance. It's definitely not the welcoming experience we want in the genealogy community. Well, think about Scotland. It's a beautiful country with a long history, and countless people named William McKay probably lived there over the centuries. Without even knowing a rough time period or where in Scotland he might have come from, or when he might have left, it's like trying to find a single drop of water in the ocean. When you ask a very general question, it's hard for experienced researchers to know where to even point you. They might have knowledge of specific McKay families in certain regions or time periods, but without those key details, it's impossible to make a connection. They might want to help, but you're making it hard. They need a better starting point. A vague question can sometimes be met with silence or perceived negativity, not because experienced researchers are unwelcoming, but because they've encountered people who expect them to do all the work. They want to help those who have demonstrated a willingness to put in some effort themselves. The genealogy is filled with generous individuals who volunteer time and expertise to help others, and they genuinely enjoy helping new people take the time to learn and improve their skills. They just don't want to be seen to be taken advantage of, especially if they depend on doing research as their income. If this is resonating with you so far, if you've ever felt lost trying to ask a genealogy question, please give this video a like. It really helps the channel grow so I can create more helpful content for you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit that notification button so you'll never miss another upload. The great thing is, even if you're just starting, you probably have access to some clues that can make your questions much more specific. Let's think about where you might find this initial information. While no one alive today will directly remember your third great-grandfather, family stories passed down through generations can still hold valuable clues, even if they seem a bit vague. Perhaps there's a recurring story about coming from the Highlands or a specific region in Scotland that the family always mentioned. Maybe there's a tale of why they left, or what kind of life they had before immigrating. Even if these stories lack specific dates or places, they can provide important keywords or locations to begin your more concrete research into records. They might also hint at family connections or even personality traits that could align with historical records. Treat these stories as potential breadcrumbs that can guide your search. Look through old photos, albums, letters, or any family documents you might have. Sometimes dates or locations are are written on the back of photos or mentioned in letters. Even an address in North America can help you start working backwards. If you know when and where William McKay died, his obituary death certificate might mention his age at death, which can help you estimate his birth year and potentially an immigration year. If you know when William McKay was living in North America, try looking for him in census records. These often give an approximate year of immigration and sometimes even a place of birth. Don't be aware this information can sometimes be inaccurate or very vague. What are some of the most surprising clues you've uncovered in your own family history research? Share some of your stories in the comments below. You never know who you might make a connection with. So let's take our William McKay example again. Imagine after doing some initial research, perhaps searching early church records for the area of Cape Breton where you know he lived, you discover a marriage listing. It shows a marriage between a William McKay and a Margaret McGuinness, performed by a Church of Scotland minister in Lake Ainslie, Cape Breton, on August 12, 1831. This is a fantastic piece of concrete information. Suddenly your question can become more targeted. So let's see how that changes our original question, and even where we might want to ask it. So instead of a Scottish genealogy group, we could go to a more focused Cape Breton group and post something like, I'm researching my third great-grandfather, William McKay. I found his marriage registration to Margaret McGuinness. It's from August 12th in 1831. It was performed by a Church of Scotland minister in Lake Ainslie, Cape Breton. Does anyone have any information on the McKay or McGuinness families in that area around the time? Perhaps information about the families before the marriage, or even know where I might find out about the church and the minister. There's a Robert McKay listed as a witness. Does anyone have information on this McKay in the area around that time? Could Robert McKay be a brother or another relative? Any insights would be greatly appreciated. See how much more specific that is now? We've gone from a general inquiry to including a specific date, a location, down to the community, the names of individuals involved, the religious denomination, and even the name of a witness, directly asking about his potential relationship. This level of detail makes it so much easier for someone with local knowledge or access to those specific church records to potentially find a connection and offer informed insights. For those of you just starting out, providing as much detail as you can, even if it feels small, it can lead to some amazing breakthroughs. It helps experienced researchers be more inclined to help by providing a focus for research, because even if they lack the specific knowledge you're looking for, they might know another researcher who specializes in that particular region or time period. A very vague question like, tell me about William McKay from Scotland, can unintentionally sound like you're expecting others to conduct the research for you. This often leads to fewer helpful responses. When you provide the details that you do know, like the marriage record in Lake Ainslie in 1831, and then ask for advice on where to go from there, it shows you're actively involved in your research. For example, you could ask, now that I found this marriage record in Lake Ainslie, what types of records in Cape Breton or potentially in Scotland might be helpful to look at to learn more about William and Margaret's origins? You can also explicitly state that you're looking for direction on where to search. For instance, I'm trying to trace William McKay's origins in Scotland. Based on his marriage in Lake Ainslie in 1831, what regions or type of records should I prioritize in my search? This demonstrates your commitment to doing the research yourself and that you're seeking expert guidance, which is often much better received. When you share specific details like names, locations, and time frames, you significantly increase your chance of connecting with other descendants of the same families. Someone else researching the McKays or McGuinnesses in Cape Breton might recognize your ancestors and have already uncovered valuable information, family stories, or even photographs to share. Furthermore, if you've taken a DNA test, sharing these details within genealogy groups can help you identify potential genetic cousins who may have already built out parts of your shared family tree. Exploring publicly viewable trees on platforms like Wikitree or Genie might reveal information about William and Margaret's origins, or their wider family network that you haven't yet discovered. These collaborative spaces can be powerful tools for breaking down brick walls when you provide enough specific information for others to make the connections. Follow the migration pattern of other family members. Remember that witness to the marriage of Robert McKay? Sometimes tracing the movements of other family members can provide crucial clues about the origins of the main ancestor you're researching. Imagine that further digging reveals a record for a Robert McKay who died in Montreal, Quebec, and is buried in the graveyard of St. Gabriel's Church. This discovery places another McKay relative in a specific location in Canada, even though it's a significant distance from Cape Breton. Let's say from your early research you find no other mention of Robert in Cape Breton after the marriage, and you recall your grandmother remembering once that as a child she visited distant cousins in Montreal. You see that Robert and William are names common in the list of each man's own children, and not just those names, but there's a few other common ones throughout each man's successive generations, just as you would expect to find in siblings from Scotland. So you feel you have enough information to conclude there's a high probability they are brothers. Or even better, maybe a DNA match has the same Robert McKay from Montreal as their great-grandfather. So make sure you reach out and share information, because not only did you find a new second cousin once removed, you found a collaborator with a common goal. So now that you're sure about Robert, you might then look into the history of St. Gabriel's Church. There actually happens to be a great book about the history of it. Churches often served as important community hubs and kept detailed records. Finding a relative associated with a particular church, like Robert and St. Gabriel's in Montreal, opens a new avenue of research. So find out about it during the mid-19th century when Robert was likely active there, and see if any ministers or if multiple members had connections to specific regions in common in Scotland. Exploring the ministers who served at St. Gabriel's Church in Montreal during the time Robert was connected to it could be very insightful. Ministers often came from specific regions or had strong ties to certain communities in their homeland. Furthermore, if records of congregation exist examining the birthplaces of previous residents of other new immigrant members during that period might reveal trends. Did a significant number of new members seem to originate from a particular region of Scotland? Well, we don't know yet where Robert's wife came from. Is there any patterns in the congregation's origins that could offer logical assumptions about the social circles Robert and other family members might have moved in, potentially hinting at their own origins? The more independent clues we uncover that logically point towards a specific area, the stronger our assumptions about that family's origins become, guiding our research in a more focused way. So this is where the fictional family that I created is going to start mixed with some factual information. So one intriguing clue in our search of William McKay's origins lies in his brother Robert's connection to the Reverend Henry Essen. As detailed in the history of the Scotch Presbyterian Church of St. Gabriel's in Montreal, that's the history book I mentioned earlier, Reverend Essen served the St. Gabriel's Street Church and was a prominent figure in Montreal. Importantly, that document states that Henry Essen was from Deeside, Aberdeenshire, Scotland. This fact suggests a potential link to the McKay family and the Aberdeenshire region. It's plausible that William's family, like Essen, originated from this area, and this shared regional connection may have played a role in Robert McKay's later settlement in Montreal. Perhaps a pre-existing family relationship or merely a shared community connection facilitate Robert's integration into Montreal society. Another line of inquiry involves examining the economic and social characteristics of the communities associated with William McKay. We know that Lake Ainsley in Cape Breton, that's a location associated to McKay from his wedding and with his descendants, was notable for its fishing industry. Further searches, including searching on Google for Lake Ainsley industry and livelihoods in the 19th century, indicates the importance of fishing alongside other pursuits in the area. Similarly, Deeside, Aberdeenshire, Scotland, where Reverend Essen was from, also had a significant salmon fishing industry coexisting with agricultural enterprises. Remember, we don't always have to stick what are considered normal research sources. I encourage you to explore resources such as Google to investigate more general things like the historical economic activities of a particular community and compare those with the findings from similar research and searches on a community that you know. Think of Google searches like the questions we developed earlier in this video for where the more specific the question, the better and more helpful the answer is. So a simple search of what were the major industries or occupations for each region in the 19th century can provide valuable information. Seeing other records of William and his descendants might list them as fishermen in census records, death or marriage records, etc. This similarity in primary occupations between the two regions raises an interesting possibility. William Mackay may have immigrated from a community in Scotland with a similar economic base to Lake Ainslie. People often migrated to new lands with skills and sought out areas where those skills could be readily applied. If William came from a place where fishing was a key part of the local economy and he himself was a fisherman, it would make sense that he and his descendants ended up in a place like Lake Ainslie, where that same industry was important. And working backwards, you could also assume if you had those skills when you arrived, you learned them from a place where those skills were used, where you came from. So, where are we in our investigation into William Mackay's origins? So far, it's led us to focus on Deeside, Aberdeenshire, Scotland, as a likely area of origin. This conclusion is supported by a connection between William's brother Robert and Reverend Henry Essen, who was from Deeside, and a similarity in economic activities between Deeside and Lake Ainslie, where William and his descendants settled. Based on this, we can now refine our original research question, moving from the vague and general inquiry about my third great-grandfather, William Mackay, came from Scotland, can anyone help me, to a more focused and informed question. Something like, did William Mackay originate from the Deeside region of Aberdeenshire, Scotland, a community with mixed economy of fishing and farming? And does this origin influence his descendants and the settlement and economic activity in Cape Breton? To help us answer this refined question, we might ask, what primary sources or genealogical resources would provide definitive evidence of William Mackay's specific town or a parish of origin within Deeside, Aberdeenshire? In our search for these sources, it may be beneficial to consult groups or societies that specialize in Aberdeenshire genealogy, as they may have more specific knowledge and resources than those focused purely on Scotland as a whole. We are now asking this more focused question of a more focused group. This refined question provides a clear direction for further research and focuses our attention on specific geographic, economic, and social factors. By targeting our inquiries to groups led with expertise in Aberdeenshire, we increase our chances of finding relevant records. Speaking of connecting with other researchers, I'm excited to announce that I'm launching an online genealogy community in the coming weeks. It's designed to be a collaborative and supportive space where you can ask questions and share tips with fellow enthusiasts. Find professional researchers specializing in specific areas or record types if you need personalized assistance. Access exclusive content from myself and guests, including monthly small group Zoom calls where we can delve into topics together. This community called Family Circle is designed to foster a positive collaborations and to provide a supportive environment for those who share the values of not just wanting to improve their own knowledge, but also to share their expertise and help with others. I've structured the membership options to encourage active participation and reward members who want to contribute and grow. The membership tiers are designed for those who are serious about taking their family history research to the next level and who are committed to not only expanding their own knowledge but also to sharing their expertise and helping others. Members will have opportunities to not just give back, but also to have real benefits through referral and affiliate revenue, as well as opportunities to market their skills within the community. And as a special launch offer, you can now get a free membership until September 1st. Go to https://familycircle.howwegothere.ca to sign up. I'd love to see you there. Starting your family history journey online is a wonderful step, and asking for help is a natural part of it. By taking a little time to gather those initial clues, even if they seem small, and crafting your questions with as much detail as you know, you'll be setting yourself up for much more success. And connecting with the wonderful community of genealogists who are eager to assist you. Asking a detailed question, as we've discussed, not only helps you get better, more focused answers, but it also demonstrates to others, more seasoned family historians, that you've taken the time to do some preliminary research. This approach tends to create a more open and welcoming atmosphere, as they'll appreciate that you're not expecting them to do all the work for you. In fact, let's imagine the questioner in our example decides to hire a genealogist to help them find this information. By doing some of this preliminary work and gathering the easily found information themselves, they could save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. As of 2023, hourly rates for genealogists in Canada range from $50 to $150 an hour, depending on the level of expertise and the services provided. Doing some initial digging and gathering information by asking questions to groups can save you money. In addition to the financial savings, you also gain a wealth of knowledge about your ancestors, their communities, and the people they interact with. This deeper understanding enriches your research experience and provides valuable context to your family history. Oh, and one more thing. Later this summer, I'll be launching an online course designed to equip you with the essential skills and knowledge you need for effective genealogy research. We'll be using proven research methods and tips, much like we've done in this video, to break down those vague questions, develop strong hypotheses, and find reliable answers. This is the first of what I hope to be many courses available over the coming years. Whether you're brand new to family history or a seasoned semi-pro looking to refine your skills, this self-paced course will provide valuable training to enhance your research abilities. So, to find out more, just visit the website below. I also want to take a moment to express my sincere thanks and gratitude to my community of viewers. This YouTube channel, along with the upcoming community and courses, is now how I'm deriving my income, and your support and encouragement mean the world to me. So take that first step. Explore what you already have, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Just remember to give as much specific information as you can. You might be surprised at the connections you will make. So, but now YouTube should be suggesting a video right about here that it feels will provide the most value for you. And you can check out my playlist just below. It's about researching your family history for more helpful tips and guidance. And remember, every family has a story, and every story is worth exploring. So keep searching for your ancestors, and have a great day.